but there's a feeling of wanting other people to sort of be along that, alongside you while you do it. And when I'm around people that are still fully, people who are older, younger, who are still operating as if they are the center of the universe, and a complete inability to control their perception of things, inability to empathize, inability to think of anything in life other than it being an obstacle to their objective, self-serving objective, is tough. And I tend to not spend time with those people.
Yeah.
Especially
what I
because
think is funny too about what you just said is I guarantee you there's half or more of the people that are listening right now are you nod along and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, me too.
Right. Yeah.
And the irony is,
yeah. And as I say this, again,
yeah.
I'm not fully formed. I haven't figured it all out. One of the concepts that he spoke about that I've just recently started deploying discipline and exercising that muscle is the shift in the controlling of your perception of things. Mm-hmm. I definitely struggle with things being an obstacle to my egocentric pursuits, whether it's the body of work that I'm doing, or just the work I need to do to earn money. Some of those things are so intense on a daily basis that I can think of everything as an obstacle. Dirty dishes in the sink. A kid has a question. The garage door isn't closing. They didn't pick up my mail today. You just want to lash out at all these things because they are these obstacles as you try to do these things that are intensely important to you and really important to ultimately your ego. When you get to the point where you can start controlling your perception or shifting your perception or deploying that awareness to go, well, it's not that my wife is messy and, keeps me from being able to do this or do that. It's all these positive things, I get to have this, or all that stuff. And all that stuff can sound a little self-helpy, a little hokey, but once you start doing it, oh my God, does it take the edge off? And I still have a long way to go to actually sort of just live in that default state there. I still have to work at it because, you have 46 years of egocentric instinct.
Can live in that default state.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of like, it's like you said, you have to constantly be reminding yourself.
Right. Yeah. There's sort of like a reflex or an instinct there sometimes to be, whether it's self-preservation or, just the power of ego. And when I say ego, I just mean sort of that self-centeredness, that you're thinking of everything from its relationship to your own self-interests. Mm-hmm. How is this helping me? How is this holding me back? How is this giving me, moving things along? And you mentioned things that you worship. You worship power, you worship vanity, you worship money, whatever. And those are things to work on as well. Although I feel relatively good about, I don't know if I could nail down right now, I worship this, but I think the first thoughts I have is, love or experiences, the sort of the truth that can exist with other people when all pretenses and bullshit and agendas and ego and all that kind of melt away and you're just with someone authentically listening and responding.
I've heard people talk about one thing that always stands out to me when I listen to that is he talks about you can either worship a god or worship something, or you can worship something spiritual.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to worship one of those things, then you will fall into subconscious worship of power, money,
Yeah.
success.
Essentially,
Whatever.
this seven deadly sins.
And
Something like
people
that.
always I've talked with people about it, and they've brought up, well, I think you can worship art, or you can worship like you can have like relationships and things like, and I would almost posit that that's like a subcategory of a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
If done correctly, like if done at the height, like the kind of, like when I say art as a spiritual thing or relationship as a spiritual thing, it's not the
Yeah.
surface level.
Right. But you're not at the root of, that's not the lowest, the deepest level of the thing.
Yeah. But I think those are I think that's absolutely something that, like worshiping love or worship, like that's like love of another, like those are pure things. Those are essentially religious or spiritual qualities. Yeah. I think where you get into trouble, and I think his point lays this out well, is when you say I don't need that, or that's false, or that's not true.
Yeah.
You're almost throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're causing more damage by, first of all, that's not true. The assuredness you have of that is incredibly self-centered and self-serving.
Right. He talked about that too.
Yeah. And then beyond that, you're just you're missing out on all
Blind
of this.
certainty.
Yeah, blind certainty due to dogma or due to some self-righteous position or something like that.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.